This is actually my third year being involved with the Big Day In, but it's my first time down here at UTS, so I'm really excited to be here. What I want to talk about today is perhaps the unlikely places that you might find high-tech industries. Who before today had actually heard of TechnologyOne? Hands up. Great. Okay, so a few of you. Excellent. We are the largest software company in Australia that you've never heard of. We actually supply software here to UTS. So what I want to talk today about is the unlikely places that you can find really exciting high tech here in Australia. So first off, let's talk about something really boring. Let's talk about real estate. So how many of you, and I'm in this category, how many of you have been dragged around by your parents on a Saturday afternoon looking at houses? Yeah, it rocks, didn't it? It was awesome. No. So, there's a company that has been doing its best to make all of our lives a whole lot better, and that's called realestate.com, the REA group. Real Estate Australia, it's an Australian company, and what they are doing is they've made an awesome website where we can all go and look at houses. In the old days, you couldn't even do that. You actually had to physically go and front up. Yeah, so at least now we can look at pictures online and we can have an idea of what a house looks like, whether it's going to suit us or not, whether it's got a pool or not, things like that. That's made our lives a whole lot better, right? All down to what looks pretty simple, just a website with a bunch of pictures on it. But you still have to go and see if you really like the house. You still have to walk through it. But imagine if you didn't even have to do that. So what they're doing now is they're actually producing three-dimensional structures of houses that you can then walk through in virtual reality. So you put on a VR headset and you can walk through a house that you're thinking of buying to see if you actually like what it looks like inside and out. That's pretty cool tech, isn't it? You can actually see that tech at blatant plug coming up. You can see that at the TechnologyOne stand because we've used this technology to map out part of our office. And you can take a virtual reality tour of our office if you drop by the stand. Now that's pretty cool, isn't it? That again means you don't have to go and look at as many houses anymore. It's cutting down on your legwork, right? Which is great. So what's the final step? Does anyone remember the bit you've got to do to actually buy the house? Sign contracts, settlement, all that sort of stuff? I reckon, personal theory, I reckon realestate.com's end game is finally allowing you to actually do the purchase of the house online. So you just fill out the website, you put in your bank account details, you sign the contract virtually. What profession just disappeared? Real estate agents. Absolutely. Don't be a real estate agent, be in technology, work for someone cool like realestate.com. All right, next example. Taxis. Okay. I think this one's pretty clear. It's been in the news a lot. Disrupting the taxi industry, highly regulated, very controlled, licenses worth a lot of money, all that sort of stuff. Along came a company called Uber and another one called Lyft. Lyft is the family-friendly version of Uber. Uber's been in the news for all the wrong reasons so far this year. But what they did was disrupt that industry. They said, no, that regulation doesn't work. This should be a free market and people should be able to charge what it's actually worth and compete for those fares. Now that's completely disrupted the industry, hasn't it? But what's happening now is there are lots of people driving cars for Uber rather than driving cars for the taxi companies. Okay, so Uber's made a cool website, their app is awesome. Yeah, it's a whole lot better than trying to call a taxi company and order a cab. But what's their end game? What are they heading for? Along with a little company called Waymo, which is now part of Google, it's self-driving cars. Yeah, so you don't need a driver, the car knows where you are, the car comes to pick you up, and the car takes you where you need to go. So, what industry, what profession just disappeared? Not just taxi drivers, all drivers. Every driver, taxi drivers, car drivers, truck drivers. Volvo, last year, drove autonomous trucks across Europe. Okay, think about that. Across Europe, through all those different countries with all those different rules, I think most of them at least drive on the same side of the road. Self-driving cars all the way across Europe. So, quick show of hands. Who thinks self-driving cars in Australia are 5 years away? Who thinks more like 10? You're all wrong. Self-driving cars are here now. Tesla Autopilot is available in Tesla cars in Australia today. You're not legally supposed to let it drive your car for you, but you can. Okay? So you don't want to be someone who drives for a living. What you want to be is in high tech, doing that self-driving stuff, working in LiDAR, working in robotics, working in location-based systems. It is awesome tech. All right, next example. Pizza. Who doesn't love pizza? Come on, this is my favorite. Pepperoni and mushroom, it's awesome. Quick show of hands. Does anybody here work for Domino's? Yeah, a few people work for Domino's, yeah. So you'd be familiar with these things. Delivery driving for Domino's. I think you can see where this is going. What industry is about to disappear? Not pizza, luckily. Driving. So I'd like to introduce you to Drew. This is the Domino Robotics unit. This delivers your pizza to you without a driver being involved. This is real. This is Australian technology. This has been built here in Australia in association with the Queensland government. Okay? That's pretty awesome stuff. All right? So we're going to see this coming through. It is a slow process, yeah? There's a lot of things to work out. That thing drives on the pavement. I don't want it running into me as I'm walking the dog in the afternoon. So there's a lot to sort of work out with regulations and how they're all going to work. They're also trialling drone delivery for pizzas in New Zealand. Okay, imagine that. Drone drops your pizza to you to your front door. Okay, it's pretty cool stuff. All right, so those are some awesome examples. Things happening right here in Australia, industries you might not have thought of and companies you might not have thought of, certainly, who are actually leading the way in technology development, whether it's software with apps, websites, machine intelligence and so forth, or hardware with things like robots and drones, self-driving cars. So whether you're into hardware or into software, there are amazing possibilities available. All right, so now let's get to a company that is near and dear to my heart, which is TechnologyOne. What do we do? We are what's called an enterprise software company. Enterprise software is the software that organizations use to run their business. So it's financial management, HR and payroll, managing big projects like roads and bridges and things like that. It sounds pretty dull, doesn't it? Pretty boring? That might be what comes to mind when you think of the people who work with that sort of software, right? It's not very cool. All right. What we actually do, we do all of those things, but what we are about is transforming businesses and making life simple. That's not simple, that's 25 years old. So the sort of things that we are doing, we're working very heavily in the Internet of Things. So that image on the far left is actually a smart rubbish bin. Might seem a contradiction in terms. How can a rubbish bin be smart? How many of you have been to a park or a festival or the beach and it's a good day, it's maybe a holiday, and the bins are all overflowing because there are heaps of people there? It's disgusting, isn't it? The ibis all come out and the rats with wings are in there and getting through all the rubbish. Wouldn't it be great if that bin could actually tell someone that it's full and it needs to be emptied? That's what a smart bin is. It's an Internet of Things device. It senses when it's full, or nearly full, and it actually phones home to say, hey, can somebody please come and empty me? This one's got an added bonus, which is the bus timetable on the side. So it's serving another purpose as well. So that's just one example. There are plenty of examples of smart devices in the Internet of Things, and we're working with our customers, councils, universities, government departments and so forth, to make those sort of things a reality in public spaces. The next one is voice control. And this is one that's actually very near to my heart because I've been working with chatbot prototypes at TechOne for a little while, and actually got to present at a conference over at Microsoft in Redmond in February to present a prototype chatbot that actually worked with students. So At the moment, most of what we have to do is all typing, isn't it? Yeah, you type, you navigate through, or you tap on your phone. What if you could just talk to it? And it could talk back, and you could get all your information that way. Isn't that a whole lot better than trying to navigate through screens and work out where you need to go? Now take it one step further and imagine that you could do that in about 60 different languages, just off the bat. So Google Translate, the Microsoft Translator API, Amazon Web Services Lex are all services that you can use for automatic translation, yeah, and for voice control. So personally, I think this is one of the most exciting areas, is natural language voice control. It opens systems up to people who can't type. It opens systems up to people who can't speak English. Yeah, it's an amazing enabling technology. The third one is systems in cars, embedded systems. So not just cars, but anywhere you have a screen, you should be able to use the software to get your jobs done. Okay, so this is an example of our software running using Android Auto in a council's ute. Tells council workers where they need to go, the jobs they need to do. Maybe they need to go and empty a smart bin. But they can get that notification straight away in the car. It will read it out to them and they can respond and say, hey, I'm on it. And it will navigate them to where they need to go. Again, making lives simpler, transforming the way people work. They don't have to go back to base to pick up the next job. Fourth one across there is the HoloLens. So this is virtual reality and augmented reality. Yeah? Virtual reality is where you're fully immersed in a completely different world. Augmented reality is where you overlay virtual elements into the physical world. Okay, and augmented reality is really exciting. That's where we see an enormous space. So we're doing a lot of work in augmented reality, bringing in things like being able to come into a space like this and automatically recognize everything. Yeah, and say, I know that that's a podium. I know that that's a chair. There should be 6 chairs up here. Are there 6 chairs? Yes, tick. Things like that. So you can do inspections and you can do stock takes and everything very quickly and simply. And then the final one is drones. A lot of our customers have field workers. They maintain assets out in the field. Now, this may be a water utility, maintaining water resources, a power transmission company, maintaining power lines, a council, maintaining light posts or light towers in a park. Yeah? All things that are dangerous for people to go and inspect. You know, no one wants to be climbing up high voltage power poles looking at whether the wires are in good shape or not. So drones are very useful in this sort of case. You can send them into an area which is potentially hazardous for humans, and they can do the job. They can do the inspection, take the video, do all of that sort of work for us. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And we're bringing all of those into the enterprise software so that our customers have a safer life and can get things done better. All right, so that's enough about me talking about TechOne. What I'd like to do now, there we go, is actually play a video of some of our recent graduates talking about their experience at TechOne.
My name's Chris Brown. I'm the R&D evangelist here at TechnologyOne, and I joined in 2011 as a product owner. I think the number one thing we do really well here at TechnologyOne is integrate the grads and interns into the programs. I think being a part of a team who contributes to everything that we're doing, from stand-ups right through to development of software and a part of the product and the actual production life cycle.
I'm Maggie O'Brien and I'm an intern business analyst. I love working at TechnologyOne because of the people. They're very supportive, and of course the environment here is amazing. TechnologyOne looks for someone who isn't afraid to ask questions, be challenged and push the boundaries. I'm proud to tell my friends that I work here. I love my job.
One of the coolest things about bringing grads into our teams is they bring new and fresh ideas. Every single one of the grads and interns that we've had over the years has ended up developing some fantastic software for us from day one. And we actually get our grads in, they are part of the team here, and they actually contribute every single day.
My name is Thomas Stolen and I am an intern business analyst. I like working here because of the people. Everyone here has expert domain knowledge, and being able to ask questions to almost anyone and have them help you find a solution to your problem is one of the big reasons why I like working here. I would highly recommend any university student that's interested in software development to apply here, because it was probably the best decision that I've made.
My name is Ryan Nylander and I'm a graduate developer. I like working at TechnologyOne because of the good people, the good teams and the interesting projects we get to work on here. I've always loved computers from a young age. I've always written programs, built websites, and I've always wanted to do something in the IT industry. TechnologyOne looks for graduates who are driven, who are passionate and love what they do.
As a graduate here at TechnologyOne, you are a part of that team. You're actually able to come in and start to contribute as a team member, a valuable team member, and I think that makes a massive difference to the way in which you actually experience, as a graduate, joining that new workplace and joining the workforce.
I'm Olivia McIntyre and I'm a graduate business analyst for the HRP team. The work environment here for a grad is so awesome because you have so many different people that are always here to help you. You have your onboarding experience, you have your all-day breakfast, your beer taps. I definitely would recommend TechnologyOne as somewhere for other grads to come because it's such a great place to work and everyone's so friendly. It's just so easy to join in the TechnologyOne community.
My name is Joel Addison and I'm a graduate developer here at TechnologyOne. As a graduate, I've had a lot of opportunities, so I've been able to go onto a fantastic team and learn lots of things about our software and software in general from a wide variety of different people who have knowledge in lots of different areas. My biggest accomplishment so far is having built the survey engine within Forms in the BPM team, and that's something I'm really proud of in my time here at TechOne so far. I'm very proud of where I work. It's a great company to work for, it's a lot of fun, and it's got lots of great opportunities for everyone here.
At TechnologyOne, we are looking for people with a passion for software, their ability to come in and engage, to ask questions and learn. We are looking for them to sell themselves and contribute as part of a team. Our grads have come on board and they've been helping us to build some great software that our customers are going to use in future generations.
It's not bad, is it? That's our recent graduates and interns really telling it like it is. That wasn't a mock-up or anything like that. That's our real office. That's the one that you can tour in virtual reality if you head up to the TechOne booth. And all of those projects that I had on before, the voice control and so on and so forth, the drone and everything, every single one of those started as a graduate or intern project. So we don't put our graduates and interns in a back room and say, hey, you need to learn for 5 years before we'll let you touch anything important. We want the bright, fresh talent to be working on the bright, big ideas. Okay, they were all grad and intern programs. All right, I think we've got a little bit of time for some questions. So does anybody have questions? Yeah. Yes, you, sir. What jobs cannot? Well, that's a difficult question because, you know, we don't quite know where AI and robots are going to go, but I think the jobs that are going to be most difficult to replace are the ones that rely on human-to-human interaction, you know, where you're actually using your, not just your pure intellect, but emotional intelligence, empathy, and so forth to connect. You know, because we talk about self-driving cars, but I know an awful lot of people would really rather have a person there because they like talking to them. They like interacting. So I think that's the key thing that's going to drive us and not make us all obsolete, is really personality rather than pure intellect. Yeah.
I wanted to ask something about the virtual reality. Are there any side effects of it? Like, does it have any negative impacts on the human body?
It can certainly make you disoriented if you're not used to it. And virtual reality more than augmented reality. Because AR, you can still see the real world, so your inner ear will still balance you. In virtual reality, you don't have that frame of reference. So it might look like you're falling out of an aeroplane, but you're actually standing still, and that can confuse your body. I think that's the key one. Where's the next? We got? Yes, here.
How did you get started into this industry?
Oh, that's a good question. Takes me back a long way. I'm an R&D evangelist, and I didn't start out wanting to be an evangelist because the job didn't exist when I finished uni. I actually did law, and I did science, so maths and computer science. Odd little combination. I decided law wasn't for me, and I pursued the science, and I answered a job in the paper. You know, way back when, before there were websites, I answered a job in the paper, and I had to go and do an interview. So, the traditional way. Who have we got next for the... yeah, here.
Oh, wow. What sort of work experience do you offer for high school students?
At the moment, we're doing internships, proper internships for uni students, but we do have work experience programs. So I would encourage you to go to the booth and have a chat with them. They're more, you know, your standard sort of 5-day work experience things to come in and see how the business works. We've got quite a large office here in Sydney, over in North Sydney, development centre, sales, marketing, consulting and so forth. So it's quite a broad office. All right. Right up the back there, yeah.
Do you have any examples of projects that TechnologyOne has worked on?
Yes. I've been with TechOne for 20 years now, so I've seen quite a few, and I started out as a consultant, so I was going out working with our customers. Probably the most interesting one, fun in some ways, was the whole of government in Papua New Guinea uses our financial management software to run the country. And you think, okay, that's pretty huge, isn't it? I went up there and I did the initial sales demonstration, and I also did the initial technical installation and making sure everything was working for them. And I got to go to some of the remote communities and see how they were actually enabling the software out there. So that was a pretty cool one, actually bringing Papua New Guinea forward in time and giving them a modern accounting system so they could actually run their treasury well.
What are the most important skills that you develop when you're working, say, at a place like TechnologyOne?
There are numerous skills, but I think really the key ones are teamwork and communication. Everything we do is in small teams. AWS, Amazon Web Services, talks about 2 pizza teams. If your team's too big to be fed by 2 pizzas, the team's too big and you need to split it. So everything we do is working in small teams, and communication within those teams is key. We can teach people languages, we can teach people other stuff, but that communication and teamwork is super important. I think we have time for one more question, 2 more maybe? Yeah, who have we got?
How are you going to protect the securities of personal information?
How are we going to protect personally identifiable information? We've got a whole lot of different ways that we do that. Some of it is technological, some of it is personnel, so we do background checks, for example, police checks on people who are going to be handling any of that sort of information. We also do, we've got a lot of certification, so we have independent auditors who come in and verify that the things that we're doing are actually good. Yeah, so it's a simple question, and it's a great question, not a simple answer, I'm afraid. There are lots of different things that we need to do. All right, I'm afraid I'm out of time, but thank you very much. I'll be at the booth later on if anyone does want to ask any more questions. Thank you.